Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ali Udabo. I have come here this morning or this afternoon to share a few thoughts regarding the deteriorating security situation in our country, the Gambia. First of all, it is very important to state very clearly that the primary duty bearer, the person or the institution with the most responsibility for the security of persons and properties in the Gambia, is the government of the Gambia. All others fall into what they may call a secondary or even peripheral responsibility in terms of security and so on. So the fact that the government is the primary duty bearer to ensure that Gambians and residents of Gambia go about their business with a sense of security, a sense of confidence of their security, means that we need to look at government and what it is doing regarding the same question, security of citizens and, or persons and properties. If anything, or if the reports in social media, the audios, videos, and images are anything to go by, we can see that there is a lot of shortcomings, a lot of gaps, in terms of how far we have to go to bring about a more secure community throughout the Gambia, or more secure communities throughout the Gambia. First of all, I want to suggest that government needs to make sure that citizens can trust their law enforcement agencies. A lot of trust was eroded during the Jammeh era, and very little effort has been put in since the change of government to restore confidence in these institutions. This is despite the fact that there are some noble law enforcement officers doing their very best, but some who are still in the top level or in the top echelons of our security services have been accused severally of various violations of the Constitution, various violations of law, various violations of the rights of citizens, and so on, to the extent that continuing those people in the roles that they have had, in the roles that they continue to have, erodes very severely the confidence of all of us, the citizens, in our law enforcement agencies. It has gotten so bad that citizens are no longer even, in a lot of cases, reporting crime to government. They just take matters in their own hands, as evidenced by the numerous videos of citizens beating, alleged criminals and so on. So this is not good for a country. It's not good for the Gambia. It basically magnifies the lapses in government in terms of its control of its duties and responsibilities to the population. If citizens lack trust in the government, of course, they will just say, okay, this is it. When we report crime, nothing is done about it. We'll go about it our own way. And in the process, those citizens will be committing other crimes. They get someone who is an attempted burglar or armed robber and so on, or has already committed the crime, but they caught him. Yeah, and then them taking the law or matters in their own hands by beating, physically assaulting those people, violating them, also puts them into the category of potential criminals. So it's a lot of things that need to be done. There's a lot of connections that are there to be made for people to understand the nature of security and how security is provided in a democracy. So security is a law enforcement function, but it's also a strategic function. As a law enforcement function, citizens need to be educated aggressively to understand their role in the provision of security in a state, but also the police need to be trained, equipped to understand their own roles as provided by the laws of the Gambia. When that happens, some of the confidence that waned over the years may be restored, and a lot of these things will reduce, especially people taking matters in their own hands, beating up alleged suspects, and so on. So the second issue is to increase accountability and transparency in policing work, bringing police services closer to communities through collaboration, setting up neighborhood watch groups that will be mentored and supervised, if you like, by the police. This will not be government institutions, but it will be civil society groups that are interested in the security of their community, but they get capacity support training so that they operate within the law and they do not turn into vigilante groups. And also keeping police accountable, using the limited police resources to fight actual crime and forget about harassing ordinary citizens who just happen to have differences in opinion with government or people in high places and so on. So let's utilize our state resources wisely to make sure that we're actually fighting crime, we're actually fighting corruption, because all of those things have direct links to the rise in crime and so on. Because citizens are seeing a lot of white collar crimes being committed. Nothing has happened to it, from the allegations against people who served in the Jammeh government to date. There has been a lot of revelations, and such persons continue to occupy high statuses in government or in society as a whole. So it kind of brings a sense of impunity to people who are vulnerable, who may want to commit crime and say, oh, look, in this country, if you have connection, if you have this and that, nothing will happen to you. And they go on, commit crime, they are reported, and the next day they are in the street. Citizens feel that, okay, look, since when we report crime, nothing gets done about it, we might as well, be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. And like I said in the beginning, that is not good in a democratic situation. There are laws, there are processes that need to be followed so that citizens can protect themselves, but also avoid violating the rights of innocent people. In some cases, it is possible that the person they are beating up is actually not the criminal. He just happens to be in a place at the wrong time. So those are some of the considerations that we have to make as citizens. But like I said, the buck stops with the government. Crime is on the increase. The president himself acknowledged this in his Idul Fitr address to the nation. So we should not stop at that address. There should be tangible efforts, not harassing citizens, not militarizing our highways and so on, but strategic interventions that make sure that the factors that are responsible for rise in crime are actually addressed. And some of those factors are social in nature. So therefore, when I say bring police and law enforcement closer to communities, when that happens, the police will also benefit by learning the nature of some of these crimes that are committed in the hoods, in the communities and so on and so forth. So bringing policing close to communities also means that people will also know the nature of police work and probably gradually restore their confidence in them and so on. We know that in the Gambia, it's just not the police that are involved with security issues. They are the National Intelligence Agency and sometimes even the military, setting up checkpoints, and even recently a Supreme Court ruling says that the military could do that. So therefore, it's a joint responsibility. And then for strategic and tactful reasons, all of them need to be mobilized in such a way that they reassure citizens about their security without harassing people. Just because you are looking for criminals doesn't mean that citizens who are going about their rightful legal businesses, legitimate businesses, are being, harassed, stopped unnecessarily 10 times in a 3-kilometer journey and so on, something like that. So, but also, government needs to do something about those social issues that are fueling crime: unemployment, high cost of living, commodity prices skyrocketing, housing problems, and so on and so forth. So those things need to be addressed. It's actually from our airport to our police stations. It is police don't even mind telling you, please go ataya songa di molla. Give us something to buy tea, give us something to do this and that and that. So we need to treat them with dignity. Government needs to pay them adequately, give them resources to be able to do their jobs so that citizens can respect them. If, some police is arresting someone who can, through their illegitimate activities or illegal activity, pay the police 10 times, why would, police could be tempted to accept bribes from them, to accept so many things from them. And, it's important that, these issues are thoroughly considered so that, increasing crime can be stemmed as quickly as possible. They violently, violent attacks on citizens, innocent citizens, from criminals or bandits posing as cab drivers, taxi drivers, to people who ambush people, they ambush others in around forests and lonely areas and so on. So citizens also need to be vigilant by reducing unnecessary travel at night. If you must go out at night, get company. Get your own personal protection. But as we have seen in some videos, you might be going, you have your own small tool to protect yourself, and then somebody might think you are the one going out to commit crime. So this is the problem with people taking the law in their own hands. So, because I've seen a video of a young boy, he had some weapons, ordinary weapon, not guns or anything, but he had some local weapon in his hand, and he was stopped because he was walking around 2 a.m. and they think because he has those weapons in his hand, he was about to commit crime. As they interrogated him violently, he said he is using that to protect himself. Although I doubt him, but I'm just giving the situation where somebody actually decided to go out with their own pepper spray or something like that to protect themselves, and then they are misunderstood or misconstrued to be potential criminals, and then become victim of this mob justice and so on. So the state needs to urgently look at this matter, study all the dimensions of crime, all the factors causing it, especially the recent increase in crime, and address it, urgently, and involve all stakeholders. It's not a partisan matter, it's a national matter. So therefore, get all the stakeholders, including oppositions, including media, including citizens groups, and so on, to address this as quickly as possible. There are some people with a lot of knowledge, extensive experience and knowledge in terms of public policy regarding security, regarding community policing, and so on. All of those people, whether in government or outside of government, should be brought to the table to assist in addressing these things. So, badingolu bal tentula bake albadi malam aliu dabo. Komen be kerim banko kan mammo kumpa, crime be siaring bake, tajirintea be siaring, mol be nyapila mol kan boy kandirol be siaring, mol be nyo fala, mol be nyo baramala, mol be nyapinkan na nyoka be nyo sunyarol be kela, dolbe sungul mutale be butela be tilimbala nyame fonle be diol bonne ke be lipale ba video le ba janjandila. So wala miroto dron wala mnyende niya oke dron mol be silala ka sunyaro ke bari iba ke ka nyawnya sunyaro man tala ngombe audio ni video receive kan hani saing. So wo kusifal man be de banko kan be man sakunda kumandla yela lod lani nyanda kafula bake be crime crime be jawya kan Gambia le, so nyanda katala le do ko ke o ma fonla polisoli la jorangol ta ya dundi crime kelola kana ki nyin damma yero silolu kan mol min bidira hajol le be wala time of waste la silo kan and so on. So I know some of the checkpoints are needed, especially late night. What all maybe, but it's the checkpoint killing full asaba soto. Traffic was slow ndila in police drive all be kachala bulol be dunna jifol kono kol be kelaten. O dol sifal comme nga traffic do encounter ni ka dum Banjul acho do ron police ole checkpoint do Mount Yes dimanche lu mo dolem, so la police nyaron ko nying membe timo nyi nyaro be sirin Gambia High School. Kamol londi dalil pu katara la fay ke samba je de ka kodo mutela, and so on. So na banko ninka dada ninko security ke fongo dol be bondi je. Andu wolta bono la je fo ye police ol joignante jola nya message la dokol ke sojarol joignante jola nya message la dokol ke mol fana kana to juturi la. Andu mol men kuruya ke wara yo tumi kuruya le be nyin bundal do nyante bondi la jele sako mol men yalon ko be nyaton ko yala mol yaje ko e kuruya lege biri ya jammela tumo kana fo sayna femman keje mol nyabela so mol man jike ko wolse batara ya bayno banko ke si crime fight no bayri tol fongol mu alleged criminal sol lalti so ni to le kuruya ke kuman keje tol be mo kurun jumal tala no yow tilindino so mansa kundala system ol be connectale ni te amira ko akam dala hadamadi ngodron ni bulo e dimi bero e ke dabo koto ni daye dimi bero e ke kara koto and so on it's a system so system wala me alon ko ni ma fix dorong akata akadula bele affect dimo nyinga aka sound dula beldo mo kurngol men be mansa kunda place olto mo corrupt ngol mon men yalon ko ye tumi kuru yalla nyanda wol be bondi la jele mo sobero kije mon karanda e do kono isilada alala isilada molla hakola ye doko ke banko yurwande so ni fuare ambe banko kan konko membe banko ka be lafa kan fengol la dajawyal sabati dulal la kole yalo an so on wol beka crime la fala beka kuruya la fa sada o kanne ani ni nyabe molle be place oldo be kuruya le be sunyarol la mol membe dumol fana nga ni fana nga nyinge te fata de tela ji an so on so ni lafta nga na banko da fo nga hakilo wol sifal do nga make sure mbeke banku din kendol ne kuwoje kuriya membe fenkela ten ron ya report to the right person ngam fonyo nyinna ron ka luwa ke fongol blokono bar luwal molla ke blokona sunta men na wala jama polisol bukela do kolke community do warante man resources so do man jorangol so do nyante la do kolke la menna mol man la polisol la koy be la do kolle kala because of kol men tambita and so on o katina la mol fongol katina okay ni nga sungu dan defangol be sungu nyim butela men diata ni nga kala nga blata and so on so nyanta hakilot la wol beto le because ni de be o mo si fal tilimbali akan ita fana be crime do la commit kan be crime do la commit kan because loi man hakko ditela pour yeb mo muta ya bute ni mo muta la dulara su nyaro la de amuta ye police ol kumanda kam ya make sure ya mari prosecute police ol fana ya make sure ko this person is prosecuted mol meni crime commit kana muta ko kundin ne ngala maslaha ten warande ye duku ye mari bulaje no the small criminals become hardened criminals and what be happen kan Gambia saying drug abuse fanang yanda change la because mol men kan drug all use ni man kodo sodo then they start falling on people so that they can buy the illegal drugs that they consume and so on so it's actually a serious youth employment issue, a serious unemployment issue, a serious drug addiction problem, and so on that the government must address headlong and kind of stop this indifference, this silence about all this crime that is going on. Especially the fact that now the president himself bring it to fore by speaking about it during his Eid address, or Nyanda katakuwal kelal to make sure that adequate resources are directed at this problem to make sure that mol se lano mol yelaye sino kairo kono kijo kana tu fararing and so on alamala in tanga alamala in dema so thank you very much for tuning to my channel. This is how at least is one part of national development. If you have your views, your opinions, you can share them. Let's share them with respect to other people and not try to silence others because they happen to disagree with us or happen to disagree with government and so on. Ninkonga Gambia soto Gambia me alonko abambanda, Gambia me alonko astronta, Gambia me alonko tilingo beje. Fonga society open. We have to have an open society. Open society cannot happen when people cannot freely discuss, talk about what their views and so on without being labeled one thing or the other. So these are my views, these are my opinions. I'm entitled to them. You are entitled to your opinions. Feel free to express them here. Make sure you are respectful of me and any other person that may be on this medium or on this platform. So thank you very much. May Allah bless all of us and bless our country. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.